Hello, friends. This is Kerry, Knoll, and today on my daily vlog, I am going to talk about a few different things. And it's been a minute since I've been here. I don't know how many days, but it's been too many, and I'm happy to be back. I've missed all of you. I've missed doing this, but frankly, I've just been super duper busy, and it's been tough. So anyway, today is Wednesday, or no, not Wednesday. Tomorrow is Wednesday. Today is Tuesday, May 11th, 2021. So let's get started. Last week and the week before, I struggled a little bit with getting Zoom to connect to Facebook groups for my live weekly meeting for my Growth Marketing Insiders membership, monthly membership, and mastermind. And this week, I finally dialed in what was wrong, and I guess they've made some changes or advancements at Facebook where they require you to add an app, the Zoom app, to the actual Facebook group you want to stream to. So if you're trying to stream a Zoom meeting to any of your Facebook groups, you must add this app. And the way you do it is you go to your Facebook group, you click on the settings, then you go down to manage advanced settings, and then you click on apps, and you click on add app, and then you can search for Zoom. And then once it's added, you'll be able to live stream a Zoom meeting to a Facebook group. So if you're getting an error like number 200, something like that, like where it says you don't have permission to stream this meeting to a group, that's what you need to do in order to fix that. Basically, I should have figured it out about a week or so ago, but I didn't have the time to look it all up and figure it out. But that's how you fix it. So if you're doing live Zoom meetings to Facebook groups and you're having an issue, that's the solution to the issue. Moving on. So right now, one of the hot topics is all about the crypto right now, right? Of course, it's been super hot for months. More recently, there's been more news about things because of Elon Musk going on SNL and basically poking fun at Dogecoin to some degree. So then, therefore, all the people that were into Dogecoin, bottom line, they mostly dumped it, and it dropped out like 35% from its peak from Saturday night. But anyway, we're in a bull market. There's only been maybe 2 to 3 of these bull markets in crypto in its lifetime so far. Bitcoin started back in 2008, in case you didn't know that. The very first bull market run, I believe, was 2011, 2012, somewhere in that range. The second one was in 2017 to early 2018, and now we have this one in 2020, 2021. It's not too late to get involved, especially with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is not going anywhere anytime soon. It's already been adopted by a lot of major corporations, so it's going to stick around and be around. So if you want to get involved with that and you want to get in some new investment and you aren't sure what to do, the number one thing you should do is get into Bitcoin 100% in a more conservative plan. And if you want to venture out a little bit and be a little bit more risky and do a moderate plan, you can do 50% Bitcoin, 50% Ethereum, which is also a crypto technology. And then if you wanted to be a little bit riskier and living on the edge a little bit, I suggest you do about 50% Bitcoin, 25% Ethereum, and then 25% in altcoins, i.e. Doge or Dogecoin, and others. There's many others. In fact, there's, at this point, I think there's a little over 9,500 total crypto programs, projects, whatever you want to call them. Not all currencies, but typically that's what it's referred to as. And so there's tons of new stuff always popping up. There's tons of old stuff that's been hanging around for years that hasn't done anything. There's, lots of new movement with the NFTs, which I've talked about in previous vlogs. Bottom line is you need to have a plan of how much you're going to invest. Basically, you want to stick to that plan because all this is speculative and this is all for, fun purposes, let's call it. And basically you're betting. Essentially, you're almost like gambling. It's almost the same as if you were going to Las Vegas and having a weekend with the guys and you were going to gamble it up a bit, right? Something like that. So it should all be money that you can easily say if you lost it tomorrow, you wouldn't have any regrets and you wouldn't sweat it. So definitely stay within that type of budget when thinking about investing into crypto. You definitely want to stick with that plan. So what that means is you don't want to chase any losses you might have gotten, or you don't want to hit the panic button on anything. You want to basically don't buy on green days. So when you see things accelerating and doing really well, you definitely don't want to be buying on the up. You want to be waiting to buy on the red days when things are on the downswing. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but believe me, that's the best way to go. As well as when you are riding these bull market trends, you don't want to be left behind with nothing at the end of the day. So if you do get in on something at a decent price and you end up making some gains, you definitely want to walk away with gains, right? So one of the best ways to do that is don't get caught up with the idea that you're going to be able to sit on the gains and they're just going to continue to double and triple and quadruple until you're a millionaire or a billionaire or whatever you think might happen. It's best to sell off on days that are in the green, about 10 to 15% of your total investment, just to ensure you're getting some kind of profit off of what your investment has made you. And then same goes with when you have red days and investments are falling. It's smart to be selling off 10 to 15% in increments of 10 to 15% as things are dropping off as well, to ensure that you get a nice solid average of return on your investment, essentially. So again, I'm not a financial advisor. I don't do this for a living. This is just some of my thoughts and what I've gone through and what I've seen recently with crypto. But yeah, so if you're into crypto or you're doing well with crypto, fantastic. If you're new to crypto, it's definitely something that you should get involved with, because we're in a bull market that has not been seen in a few years, and we never know when we're going to see something like this again. In fact, it may never happen again. It might be once in a decade type situation. The projection is like Bitcoin will hit 100,000 by the end of this year, or even in early 2022. I believe eventually each Bitcoin will end up being worth well over 100,000. I think closer to $1 million or more per coin, because there's only going to be so many in circulation. They've already minted like 18 million out of the 20 or 21 million that are possibly being released. So there's, once all 21 million Bitcoin get minted, there will definitely be an increase in value to each and every coin. And you can go on almost any network exchange or trading exchange to purchase Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies. You just need to know and feel them out and do your due diligence and figure out which ones might be best for you. I suggest going to Coinbase to get started, and you can do that very, very easily. Just go to coinbase.com and create an account. All right, enough about crypto for now. This weekend, we're going to Dallas for Prep Hoops Next Southwest Regional Final. That starts on Friday, May 14th through Sunday, May 16th. We're actually flying out Friday morning and come back Sunday night. We don't actually play on Friday night, which kind of is disappointing. We do play 2 games on Saturday, guaranteed. We play at 8 a.m., which really stinks because that's really early, against EAD Ducks 2025, and then again at 1:25 against Team Griffin Select 2025. And then we have bracket play on Sunday. So these teams are kind of the best of the best. So we should be expecting much tougher competition, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if we get our butts kicked. But we'll see. Hopefully we'll do well. Just depends how the guys buy in, if they play well together, if they do the right things. And you just never know. It's if everyone plays the way we ought to play and at the capacity that we're capable of playing, we are as good a team as any, and we can beat anyone. I don't care who they are. That's how I feel. But if we decide to get out of our comfort zone and we start doing things that are uncharacteristic and we start playing one-on-one basketball and alienating some of our teammates and such, and we don't actually, work for each other, play as hard as we can for each other, we're definitely going to suffer from that. We're going to lose. That's kind of what happened to us in our last tournament. And I'm hoping that doesn't happen again, especially in this big event this weekend. I hope we have more of what we did in Phoenix for the first tournament we were in, where we actually won. We won every one of our games and finished first place. So it was awesome. Moving on. I have an SUV, a Chevy Traverse from 2016 Chevy Traverse that I normally rent out on Turo. I no longer rent it out on Turo. It has a branded salvage title, and it took about a year for Turo to discover that before they basically said we can't rent it any longer on Turo. Not a big deal. We use it for other transportation and means, but it's just one of those. It's an extra vehicle we have. It's the third vehicle, and we don't typically use it very much. Well, I let a friend borrow it on this weekend and to go to LA. And on the way home, unfortunately, they got sideswiped by a speeder near Barstow or in Barstow. And that speeder ended up basically crashing and flipping or something. It's so bad that the passenger actually flew out of the car, and presuming that they were killed on impact, but I'm not sure. They didn't really tell my friend about it. The police wouldn't tell him, or the paramedics wouldn't tell him whether or not he was alive or dead. And then the driver had lost one of his hands somehow. So I don't think either one of those guys were wearing seatbelts. They don't know if drugs or alcohol were involved in this situation. I know it was super scary for them. Luckily, they're all okay. It was 4 of them in the vehicle, and the back rear driver's side wheel and tires basically all smushed in and kind of crooked, and I think the frame is bent. Again, this was a salvage title, a branded title vehicle that was in an accident before, so I believe they'll end up totaling it out, because I think it'll cost too much, and I think due to the fact it's already got a branded salvage title, they won't want to fix that up and lose any more value out of that vehicle. So hopefully all the repairs will cost so much that it will just not pay for itself at all. And they'll just total it out and we'll be done with that vehicle. And, luckily the 4 in the SUV were all wearing their seatbelts and they had no serious injuries. They're just a little sore. A couple of them are a little bit sore from the impact, which I can imagine. I can't imagine how scary that might have been. And where he hit him in the back, near the back, I really truly believe they were really fortunate in not, basically getting turned sideways when they got hit, to the point where they would have, rolled themselves, right? Because if they're driving along and they get hit in the back, I don't know if I can show a demo of this, but if they get hit in the back and then they're basically going to be, sideswiped like that, they could have kicked out their back end, fishtailed them a little bit out, kicked them out, and then, of course, at high, they weren't going high speed, they were going 60, 65. But I think the speeding driver was probably going, obviously, way high speed rate, at least minimum of 90, probably over 100, who knows. And when you see the impact, you're like, wow, I can't believe it didn't kick out their back end and turn them and spin them out. And then, of course, not just spin them out, but possibly roll them, right? And so they're very, very fortunate that it basically just hit them. And the guy kind of like bumped off of them essentially, and then he went crashing, and they were all right. So very, very fortunate, very scary situation, and that's why I just don't believe in speeding. Speeding just doesn't pay. Speed kills. At the end of the day, I've seen my share of bad accidents and heard horror stories, and it just doesn't pay. Eventually, it's going to catch up with you, and especially if you're reckless. If you're driving at high rates of speed, 100 miles an hour plus, and you're swerving in and out of traffic, it's just so dangerous. It's like motorcycles when they do that, and they come through really tight spaces between vehicles when they're passing them. And I mean, just one wrong move by a driver that isn't paying attention or doesn't see you coming because you're coming at such a high rate, they just don't have time to react, and they swerve into you by accident. What's going to happen? You're going to crash. They're going to crash. It's going to be a horrible situation. And for what? ego, or I want to beat everyone there, or I want to get home or to the location I'm driving to, destination, 10 minutes earlier or 15 minutes early, because that's all you're going to gain. At the end of the day, you're not going to gain enough time to warrant the risk involved with the possibilities of causing some sort of accident in either, some sort of serious, either your own life, costing your own life, or someone else's life. And that's usually the case. Usually it's the innocent people who become the victims in these situations so many times. I mean, you see it all the time. And so, nobody needs to be a victim if they all just drive the speed limits and drive carefully. There's enough other issues that occur on the road besides from just driving normally that can end up causing an issue, causing a wreck, causing a crash. So, I mean, why risk it? Why increase your chances to have an accident? And to me, it's just insane. It's nuts. It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, that's it. That's all I'm going to have for you today. That's all I'm going to rant and rave about. I think that's enough. So we talked about Zoom and getting Zoom meetings to work with Facebook groups real quick. We talked about crypto and the bull market. And we talked a little bit about the Prep Hoops next Southwest Regional Final we're going to this weekend, which I should have a full report on Monday or Tuesday. And then we talked a little bit about the SUV and the wreck. All right, I'm going to be signing off. Thanks so much for tuning in. For those who did, have a great rest of your evening, and hopefully I'll be back sooner than later. I hate having these large gaps, and I'm sure you all miss me very much. So I'll be back. In the meantime, have a great night, and we'll speak with you soon. Take care.